Hey, what's up, y'all? My name's Ian Counts. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, Queen City native. I'm gonna be doing a demo today. I'm my buddy Steven. Steven said, hey.
Hey.
All right, that's Steven. I'm gonna give y'all a little background on where I got started at. Got started here in Charlotte. Worked for 2 years in a barber shop, doing a lot of overly textured hair, so a lot of clipper cutting. Then I moved out to Colorado, did a lot more longer hair, a lot of skater, surfer, really textured hair. A lot of hard shear work, which was good. After that, moved down to Fort Collins in the Front Range. We're near a military base where I was doing a lot of razor fades, high and tights, flat tops. So really just trying to fine tune all my different skills. After that, moved back here to Charlotte, and now I'm working in a salon doing a lot more women's hair, but I still mainly specialize in men's hair. So we're here with Tori Hanzo. Why do I work for Tori Hanzo? Well, the first time Ben came into my shop, he let me borrow a few pairs of shears. I was like, oh, these are pretty awesome, dude. It almost feels like I'm not even cutting hair, because I was just moving my thumb and hair was just hitting the ground, but it was I didn't even actually feel like anything was happening, and I was just really amazed. He picked up one of my pairs of shears and was like, dude, you should let me refurbish these. And I was like, no, I just got them sharpened. He's like, yeah, you should let me refurbish them. I'm like, no, dude, I just got them sharpened. He's like, just trust me. I was like, all right, $35, all right, whatever, yeah, go ahead, take them. Well, he gave me a pair of shears to borrow, which is really awesome because no company does that. So I wasn't left high and dry without a pair. And then he took mine 30 days later, he brought them back, and they were better than the day that I bought them, which is amazing to me. And the fact that he let me borrow a pair, which is kind of dangerous because then I ended up buying that pair. But totally worth it because they have a payment plan. They put me on that, and I was able to get that pair of shears. They also have a 30-day guarantee. If you like the shear, if you don't, send it back. The other big reason that I love working for Tori Hanzo because for the small time that they've been around, and as fast as they're growing, for them to already have a nonprofit with sex trafficking, I think is really huge. To getting women off the streets and away from pimps and drug dealers and stuff like that. Sex trafficking. This is really dear to my heart because I have a good friend that actually lives in a house with a bunch of girls that is actually getting them off the streets. And occasionally we pull, when the girls have been in the house for a little while, we bring them here into the salon at night, and then we do their hair for them, we give them a full makeover. So this is really dear to me, so when I found that out, it was just really big. Today we're going to be doing a men's haircut. I want to get right into it. I've cut Steven's hair a few times. The big thing you want to know with guys' hair is we want to look at the contour of the head versus in women's hair we look at the facial shape. On guys' hair we're looking at the head shape. Depending on the head shape, depends how we're going to do our haircut. Steven luckily has a very oval face, so it makes it really easy for us to do pretty much any kind of cut we want to do. But with him having as much length that he has on top, we don't really want to give him too high of a fade here. Because it's going to almost make it look like he has a mohawk or bring his head too much in. If you got someone that has a pointy head on top, you definitely don't want to give them a high fade because that makes them look like a Q-tip. Or if you got someone that has a square head and the top comes out, maybe you want to give them a higher fade to kind of round that out a little bit. But it's just understanding the contour of the head, and that literally look in the mirror, it only takes a couple seconds. There's pretty much two places you can fade someone. You either have a low fade or you have a high fade. You can get into military high and drop fade and all that, but those are the two standards. So when a guy says hey, I want to fade, it's you as an artist, as a professional, as a craftsman, just decide, should I give him a low fade or should I give him a high fade? The other big thing is the contour here in the back, depending on if they have a flat spot back here, where we need to fade it at. And then also, the big thing now is what guys want is tapered. They want their necklines tapered. Big thing about tapering is you have a 1 finger, 2 finger, 3 finger, and 4 finger taper. Depending on the person's length of neck, it makes me decide which kind of taper I'm going to do. If a person has a really long neck, I don't want to do a 4 finger taper on them, because then they're going to look like they got some crazy giraffe neck, and that's not going to look right. Versus if I have someone that's really short, 5'4", stocky ass dude, I don't want to give him just a 1 finger taper because it's not going to look like he has a neck. But if I give him a 4 finger or maybe just a little bit more of a taper, he still going to have a neck. Now all his boys are dude, man, that's a good cut. And his girl's well, I bet that's your hair. Make sure you go back to him. That looks nice. Now he doesn't know what I did. I don't need to explain to him the size taper I gave him. I just need to know as a professional what one to do on him. And this all comes in the first couple minutes of consultation. Asking the client what they're looking for, their lifestyle, all that. But get a game plan before you get into the cut. So we're gonna be doing this shear with comb. I'm going to start out with my HH6 6-inch. I really like this shear a lot because it's a 50-50 cutting shear. The steel's a lot stronger, so it's going to last a lot longer. but with it being a 50-50 cutting shear, it has an emphasis on dry hair, which right now on Steven, I'm doing the shear over comb dry, because it's easier to do this and then go back and shampoo the hair afterwards, versus doing it when it's wet. Also with women's hair, like, what do we do when we first, like, right after we get done with the consultation? We go shampoo the drill, and then as we're cutting the hair's wet. What's the hair doing while we're cutting it? It's drying, right? So wouldn't it be awesome to have a shear that like has an emphasis on dry hair? It's a 50-50 cutting shear, has an emphasis on dry cutting. So that means like the longer I cut that woman's hair, the better the shear is gonna get. Or right now while I'm doing Steven's hair, it's cutting. This is where like it's made to work, you know. And we're just like following up the head right now. You're seeing like cool change in guys' hair. Like guys are caring a lot more about the way they want their hair. And the cool thing about shear work is a lot of people are like, they want to do clipper work and stuff. And clipper work's great. Like it's awesome. I do a lot of clipper work. But the cool thing about shear work is it's faster. Like I don't have to worry about blending out a clipper line. It's very, very simple to do. Do a shear cut and just like flow all through it. You know, and a lot of people wonder. They're like, well, if you're not using guards, like, how do you know? How do you know what length you're doing the hair at? Well, personally, I like the cutting and praying method. I feel like the more I cut and the more I pray, the better haircut comes out. That's not really true. This comb right here, this is the Tory Hanzo comb. This comb right here is pretty much 1/4 of an inch. So if I put that flat on the scalp and go up, that's 1/4 of an inch. So it gives me my put out a little bit, 3/8, a little bit more. It's a 1/2 inch. But it makes it very, very simple that I can just put it right there on the scalp. And it's basically acting like my guard, like if I was doing a clipper cut. So it makes everything like very, very simple. You know, like there's a reason that I don't talk in guard sizes. By the way, 1/4 inch is like a 2 guard. But the reason I don't talk in guard sizes is because that's not how people ask. It doesn't make sense when someone says I want a 2 guard, because every single guard is a little bit different. Inches like stay the same, they're always true. You don't have a woman coming in and be like, yeah, I want a 26 guard all over my head. No, she says I want an inch off my head. So guys here, why don't we talk the same way? Why are we not talking in inches? So most of my clients don't tell me guard sizes anymore. They tell me I want a 1/4 inch, I want a 1/4 of an inch, I want 3/8 of an inch. Like they talk to me in inches because that's like more accurate. Or when a guy's like, yeah, I want finger length on top. What does that even mean? Like, because all of our fingers are different lengths. But as like a professional, we like decode what people say all the time. So when they tell me finger length, okay, does that mean you want like an 1.25 inch, 1.5? Like you want something kind of messy on top, you're gonna wear it over. Oh, you want something messy? Okay, that's about 1.25 inch. I need to texture it out a little bit, and that tells my length. But I need to teach my client to say that too. Like, okay, from now on, when you come back, tell me you want a 1/4 of an inch, and tell me that you want 1.25 inch on top. So now I know the exact length that I need to cut the hair at. And that way, it makes everything a lot simpler. So why do we? So why do I teach? Why are y'all here at these classes? To learn a haircut? Okay. What else? Okay. Well, the main reason that I teach, the main reason that I suggest going to the classes is to be inspired. Because if we're not inspired, we're going backwards. And when we stop being inspired, we get bored. And when you get bored, we stop caring about what we're doing on our clients, or what some people like to call them guests. And once we start getting bored, they start getting bored. And that's how they leave us. And then we're not making money. Let's get real. If we're not making money, why are we doing this? Because there's a lot of other things that we can do to make money. So that's why it's important to go to classes. That's why it's important to invest into like nice tools. If you're not willing to invest into yourself, why do you expect your clients to invest into you? It's just the circle of how everything works. So now that I've done all my shear over comb on the side, because we're just gonna do half a head today. It looks really nice and clean. And the shear that I'm gonna use for the top, most of it, is my HH40, which is the 40-tooth barber shear. I always like to think of a blending shear because it has really close teeth. It's percentage. It's 40 teeth, so it's gonna take about 40% of the hair off. So when I hit it once, 40%, twice 80. When I go over that, it's basically taking the whole strand off. So if we think of it that way, that means if I go over it like almost 3 times, it means it's pretty much gonna cut all the hair. And with Steven having this like awesome wave here on top, That wave needs texture and separation into it so the hair will actually sit into itself. Because hair's like a broom, and if we keep cutting it, it becomes like this, and it needs texture in it so it'll actually sit into itself. And especially with wavy hair, not on women, but especially on guys, it needs a lot of texture so it can sit into itself. Now, if we're gonna cut a pomp, he's gonna have a side part, have kind of a pomp here in the front. Where do we need to leave length at? We need to leave it at the front, right? Right, of course. Where else do we need to leave length? We need it here in the back so the crown will lay down correct. With that being said, that means here, right here, that's where we need to remove the most amount of weight. We also need the most amount of weight here. It's for that hair to lay over. So, and if you notice the way I'm cutting this hair, I'm starting with the bottom. Because when you cut a man's hair, you cut the hair the same way you build a house. The foundation, put the walls up. Next thing you do is you put the roof on it. Then you come back and put siding on it. And then, you know, you always want to like do real nice, have like grass and flowers, and that's where you come and you put like a nice like clean line on the neckline. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come for the roof on this house. So right here I need to remove the most amount of weight. Here I don't need to go as much. So we're gonna go like pretty deep right here. And I'm gonna hit really far into it, and then I'm gonna hit a few more times on the end to take the length off. There we go. And that already starts to lay really nice. Then here towards the end, I'm gonna be careful that I don't go too deep into it. We're gonna stay to the last third of the hair, and we're just gonna keep going over it. See, that hair's already wanting to lay really, really nice for us. Same thing here in the back. We're gonna start out somewhat deep, but we're gonna go to manly at the end. You know, if Steven had longer hair, I might want to go in here and do some hard shear work. But he's just getting a trim today. And this goes into the whole thing of like, try different haircuts out and try different ways of doing things versus me coming here and doing all hard shear work and then coming in here doing a bunch of texturizing. Why can't I do it all the same? Because if we already trained our eyes for doing shear work, I have an eye for the way the hair is supposed to sit. Next, I'm going to use my HH13. This right here, it's going to give a lot more separation in the hair. It's because it's more of a chunky shear. You really want to be careful that you don't go past the halfway mark with this hair. I'm going to stay more of a third out. That right there, see how he's starting to have all that separation right there through the hair? Now I'm going to come back with my 42, because I just did the roof of the house, right? I already did, I put my walls up, put the roof on, now I got to put the siding on. That's where we just blend right here. And that's very easy with a 42 blending shear. All we got to do is a little bit of shear on the comb. We're just going to keep going over this. And we're really just trying to hit the ends. Because I already did a really good job doing shear over comb all the way up the head, which is making all this very, very simple. See, that makes that lay in there really, really nice. We'll put a little bit, we'll blow dry that, put a little bit of product in the end, and it'll sit really well. That's about on the demo today. What I really want y'all to think about today is different shears we use. We used straight blade shear, which has an emphasis on dry cutting. I used my barber shear, which is a 42 blending shear. I used this texturizing shear to put more separation, which is a chunking shear. Big thing about what we were talking about being inspired, trying new things. Like, be inspired, so you inspire your clients, you inspire them to come back to you. So if you're not used to using a 42 texture shear, get a 42 texture shear. If you're used to using a 42 texture shear all the time, get more of a chunking shear. But like, challenge yourself to use different tools so you'll be inspired, so your clients will come back to you. Now, who's ready to buy some shears?